Imagine the possibilities. My rivals will be powerless, completely powerless. They'll be babes for the slaughter. We'll be invincible.
Hello, my name is Kate and I'm gonna tell you about the Arcanists who touched godhood but destroyed entire Netheril empire in D&D. The Archwizard, the Arcanist Supreme, the Unmaker of the Weave, the All-High, the Almighty Great Karsus, known by many names, he was one of the most known Netherese Arcanists, whose ambitions became his and Netheril undoing. He challenged Mystryl herself to replace her and become the one and only god of magic, causing the event known as Karsus Folly. He's an iconic character and references to him can be met in various D&D literature, adventures, and of course D&D related games. But how did he become like that? What's his story? Let's figure it out. During the Shadow Age, in 696 before Del Reckoning, Karsus was born in the floating city of Alinar. His father Radman and mother had an only child, leaving Karsus almost alone for his entire life after they passed away. Apart from his closest family, the boy had only a cousin Aquisita, who cared and looked after him from his youth to the very end. Karsus was an extremely powerful and gifted arcanist. From a young age he easily learned and casted new spells and brought interest upon himself from Mystryl priests, who took him in and started to train him in divine arts. Yet, the boy was not interested in priesthood, believing that only he is powerful enough to claim the world for himself through magics. He started mastering the art of magic, and in 674 before Del Reckoning, by the age of 22, he created a Mythalar, an own enclave. As any respectable archwizard, he needed citizens and arcanists in his floating city, so he dedicated the next 200 years to marketing of his own enclave. That's why he contributed to the development of arcanist education in Netheril by building the most magnificent colleges and universities to lure people in his own enclave. And it worked. Lots of young and brightest minds capable of magic joined Karsus City. In 461, Phaerimm appeared on the horizon, draining magics and life energies from the Netherese lands, quasi-magic items and people. The drain also influenced the life extension spells of all archwizards, and that made them very concerned. Karsus felt this on himself as well, but he didn't want to retreat to lichdom, thinking other ways to prolong his life and remove the threat. In 53 years, in 408, he discovered what he thought could be an answer: heavy magics, a powerful form of physical magics with incredible potential. He discovered that heavy magic could be enhanced with any other spells, which allowed to create fully enchanted surfaces or objects from it with any kind of properties. During one of his experiments, he made heavy magic to drain the Mythalar and everything around it of magical energy. The enclave started to fall, and Karsus immediately threw the heavy magic orb outside the enclave. It landed in High Forest and transformed Vulgrath, a prominent Netherese arcanist, into a lich, making him an internal enemy of Karsus.
Did you like my mutant? I bred him from a tiger and a dwarf. A big dwarf. I keep them in the cellars. Actually, I just made him up from thin air. Actually, a friend captured it in the Southlands and gave it to me. People bring me lots of presents. They like me.
Yet, he continued the experiments, which became more and more mad. He didn't value human life and was eager to experiment on the living. In parallel, he also started to research the Karsus Avatar spell, in ultimate secrecy. In less than 10 years later, Karsus persuaded the Council of Seventon to lend him the Nether Scrolls for further research. Seeing his progress with experiments, the Council agreed. But in 395 before Del Reckoning, the Nether Scrolls were stolen while en route to Karsus. I don't quite understand why they needed to use the caravan for the most precious magical artifacts, when they could use arcanists to teleport the scrolls from one location to another. 50 years later, in 345, when Karsus already was deep into research and experiments with heavy magics, an old Lich King of pre-Netheril civilization, Athrindal, arrived to Karsus' court and warned him that Mystryl soon to face the greatest challenges of all. Yet, being too arrogant, self-centered and somewhat mad, Karsus didn't hear the warning, continuing the experiments. Karsus had over 900 wizards in his enclave to solely help him with magic research. The enclave was centered on this man who ran and tasked everyone to conduct crazy experiments. For example, to create a mouse system to deliver heavy magics from point A to point B, or to turn the color of a spell from green to blue. He was mad, but he was a genius, something like Willy Wonka, constantly experimenting to achieve the greatest results of all, no matter the costs. That is why he was very dangerous to Netheril and its people. The drain of Phaerimm intensified on the Netheril Empire, forcing many Arcanists to start their own experiments or leave home and land. Karsus felt the pressure too. He saw Archwizards undertaking desperate measures that doomed their cities. In 343, the Nether's flying enclave of Ithrin crashed into Redhead Glacier. 1 year later, the city of Archwizard followed. Hence, he dedicated all of his researches to create different heavy magic weaponry which the Netherese could use against its foreign enemies and Phaerimm, while he himself was focused on finalizing his ultimate spell. The problem was that Netheril was not at war with any of its neighbors, yet Karsus agreed to test the arsenal with Ireland, who would wage artificial war against each other, enclave versus enclave. The war between cities broke out, but the prank went out of control, and hundreds were killed from both sides. While the new magical arsenal could be tested, the Karsus Avatar spell was kept a complete secret. In 341, the Archwizard Lady Ireland managed to learn through divination of Karsus' work. After that, she disappeared. It is said that on one day Karsus jumped back 358 years back in time, to the moment where the heavy magic star fell from the skies, orchestrated by Phaerimm. Karsus took the heavy orb to the future in 340, and that star allowed him to finish his Karsus Avatar spell, as well as invent super heavy magic, an ultimate distilled version of heavy magic. I think it's with the help of distilled version of heavy magic the crown of Karsus was made, that we later see in Baldur's Gate 3, that was an important component of the spell. And to give you an understanding of it, it's a 12th level spell, so before that there had to be 11th level, 10th level, and only before that the all-powerful wish spell that everybody uses now. The caster was required to undergo many steps and obtain lots of components, for example, the stomach of gold dragon filled with stones, or blood of Tarask, or bile of 12-headed hydra, and many more. The spellcaster had to conduct the ritual for 6 hours straight. Later, in 339, Eolan disappeared from own enclave. He foresaw the events to come and stepped out from the public. With the disappearance of the father of Netheril, with high war attrition and fiery menace, Netheril became on the brink of revolts. Karsus decided that the time is right to use his ultimate weapon and casted the Avatar spell, which was supposed to suck all magics from Mystryl and transfer it to him, and use soon to become God. However, this was a big piece to swallow, his body bloated, his mind filled with the knowledge of the universe. He instantly realized the mistake of his decision. He betrayed, doomed, and killed all of the Netheril. Mystryl decided to sacrifice herself to save the Weave, wishing herself out of the existence. This broke Karsus' connections to all magics, as well as turned off the magics across the realm for a short time. Floating cities started to fall. The great Karsus died instantly, petrified in a red-hue 30-meter stone, and fell from the enclave's balcony into dire woods. His soul was not accepted by any god. He became stuck in the material plane, bound in eternal torment to replay the moment of his folly. So, is he a strong character? Well, from the lore perspective, yes, of course. He's the most powerful Arcanist ever lived, who created lots of powerful artifacts and spells. He was a genius, yet like Icarus from Greek tragedy, flew too close to the sun. From the technical perspective, in the Powers and Pantheons old book, he's said to be level 41 Arcanist and with the following stat block. Though the stat block doesn't give anything else, he's capable of wielding any kind of spell ever existed. He also possessed all various magical artifacts, including the crown of Karsus and probably numerous iron stones above his head. And now a bit of DM tips on how to play him. If you wish to introduce a campaign in Netheril and introduce Karsus, remember, he always acted as an excited child without any moral compass. I would say imagine Willy Wonka, who's gone completely mad. Secondly, when fighting, do not forget that Karsus had about 900 arcanists who served him. Do not fear to throw as many mages in battle as needed. And thirdly, you may use his enemy Vulgress, a rogue Netherse Bleach, who is sworn to revenge Karsus for what he had done to him. And that's all about Karsus, the Unmaker of the Weave and doom of all Netheril, the greatest Arcanist ever lived, who reminded us about himself again through the recent Baldur's Gate 3 video game, and maybe we will hear his echoes once again in the future adventures through other powerful magical artifacts. And if you like the lore, please press like and subscribe button and tell me in the comments below who else you would like to hear about. Happy festive season and see you next time!